What's up, guys? Today we're talking about an online classroom that's gamified. This question comes from Claire Horncastle from the South Island of New Zealand, and she really wonders, can we apply the principles of XPLAP and gamification to her online class? She's got 28 students spread throughout the island as well as beyond the island and outside the country. And she's just wondering what and how to apply these principles. And remember, kind of the #1 principle of Explore Like a Pirate is that we're connecting with the student, right? That it's not just giving out badges and points. While that is a big piece of gamification, it is the connection made between the teacher and the student, and the students and the students, and the student and the content that's the most important. So, thinking about those things, the #1 thing you want to do is try to establish a relationship between yourselves and those students, and a relationship between the students and the other students. So I think the #1 thing to do is really try to include some video type things. So whether that's Google Hangout or Skype or Flipgrid, which I think you commented in your crew question that you already do those things. So that's great. That's a great place to start. You're building that community. The next is you want to take that community to that next level and sort of put them on teams. And so you could structure your online game that all 28 are working together, that it's the 28 against the game, or you could take that 28 and break them up into little different groups. Now, if you break them up into little groups, you want them to have sort of a shared place to go, and strongly suggest that it's something outside your normal sort of class experience. Hang on, why don't we make that jump somewhere else? How about, so here we are, outside, like that. And being outside of, your normal space is important. It sort of makes our mind think of things differently, and that really can change things up in the classroom. So in your virtual environment, you can't necessarily take them outside, but you can take them outside your virtual world. So if you mentioned in your comment that you have a Google Classroom, don't be afraid to have them go somewhere else, right? You don't have to have a one-stop shop. Your Google Classroom can be great. That can be for your classroom. I have the same thing. Like, there are certain tasks and things in my traditional classroom that they just are. They're just regular homework assignments or those kind of things that have nothing to do with the game. They're just doing their normal textbook reading or whatever. But then I have other experiences that are outside the norm. So I would strongly suggest that you think about building, whenever you pick your theme, building a sort of site, and you can use some tools like Wix, for example, W-I-X. I'll put a link down in the show notes. But use a site like that to build out your theme. You could also use Google's new sites, and they just updated that, and that looks really good. But there's just something about being in a different space that can really amp up a game. So whatever you pick as your theme, put that out on another website. Have that somewhere that they can go use, they can go to. It's where their missions could be found. It's where their leaderboard could be found, their challenges that can be found there. But I think you could do that in an online environment, and I think that this would bring some of the Explore Like a Pirate sort of theme to it, and have that be such a meaningful thing to the students. Another thing to think about is your theme. Your theme can connect to this sort of digital experience that they're doing. They could be hackers, like trying to protect databases and hack into other databases, right? They could be spread out amongst these locations. They could be, the last remaining survivors of some sort of apocalypse, and they're out there and they've just fired up sort of this internet, and only parts of it work, and they can only somewhat decrypt messages, right? They could do that. They could be in space, and each of them could be like their own planets or whatever. There's just lots of things you can do that you can leverage their class experience to your advantage and to your game's advantage. So I talk about that with other teachers, and you're no different. So when a third grade teacher that teaches all the subjects asks, what should I do? They have an experience that I don't. Like, being the teacher that teaches all subjects, they could really show how gamification and these skills that are in one class transfer to another by needing to get this certain math badge to unlock this power in English class, right? I can't do that. So leverage your class experience, and in your case, this online experience, into your theme, into your game, and I think you'll see that like you really have a lot of options. In an online space, one of the other things that are, you know, really important to do is, again, create that community in a gamified class. So my last tip for you in your online class is you might not give out so many individual powers, but I would really focus on the community powers. So either guilds have to get several things together, you know, item-wise, to unlock some sort of power or experience within the game, so that they, you know, they're collecting various parts of a computer to sort of turn it on and activate it, kind of thing, or structure it that whole groups end up having like their own sort of community or village that they sort of build up, and they can spend their in-game points to sort of level up their city, so to speak, right? So instead of me having an individual item, we together purchase the blacksmith shop, or, you know, whatever your theme is. But I think that would even strengthen the community feel all that much more. Really, if you can make it sort of some sort of experience where they are so excited to sort of unlock that next thing and uncover that next thing and earn those sort of points so that they can spend the gold or whatever resource you want on unlocking these things, that is where, like, you know, you've hit the flow, you've hit sort of the money spot for your game. You know, it is running itself, and students are super excited and engaged. Not easy to hit that spot, but I think if you apply some of these principles, you will see sort of a difference in your online experience. Anyways, Claire, really appreciate you writing in and asking your crew question. If anybody else have crew questions, the link below will take you straight to where you can post your questions. Love getting these questions. Also, you know, comment on the video, subscribe, smash that subscribe button. We're trying to get, you know, to some, you know, I'm trying to reach as many people with these videos, so I really appreciate your help with your subscription. Tweet these things out. Enjoy the conversation. Connect, share, grow. Until next time, I'm MrMatera.